Yes, hello, my name is Jane Howard. I am a contract and grant director for Heartland Family Service, and I have been with them for almost 16 years. I started as a contract and grant coordinator, um, and eventually moved up and became director. So, when I was going through school, I didn't realize this was an option to be a grant professional. I had an interest well, I started college as a math major and I changed over to a psychology major because I was uh, interested in understanding and helping people. But I also had a fairly strong math background, and my mom was an accountant and had taught me to do bookkeeping and accounting type things early on in my life. So I had a lot of jobs as a bookkeeper. So I had some strengths in that area, but I was interested in helping people, and I had a lot of writing skills. I had written poetry and stories and things like that, and been on the literary magazine in high school. So I also had an interest in writing. But in school, I ended up studying to be a psychology professor. And I went to graduate school to pursue that path. But after I had been teaching psychology for several semesters, I decided perhaps that wasn't the right path for me, as I liked a little bit more variety in what I would be doing from year to year. So I fell back on some of my math and bookkeeping skills, and I ended up being an analyst for a bank and then a financial services institution. And I worked in the corporate world for a while. And as happens to many people, my department was laid off at a certain point in time, and it gave me an opportunity to examine my interests and my goals and my resume and to get some things sorted out for myself. And I ended up thinking, well, it would be great if I could use my administrative and writing skills um, to help people because I've always been interested in that. I did a lot of volunteer service work. Um, and I also found in the course of graduate school that I ended up administering a program. I was the director of a independent study program, and I enjoyed that. So um, I thought, well, I'm going to look for some kind of office administrative or supportive work where I can use my skills in a nonprofit organization or agency. So I began applying for those types of jobs, and that is how I landed with Heartland Family Service in their grants area. It was a relatively new position, so I actually had the opportunity to shape the work and the position over the years that I was there, and expanded. The agency grew a lot during the time that I was working for them. And so there were just two of us to start with, and now I oversee a team with three that report to me, and I think well, three and a half. I think we're probably going to add another person next year if we can, because the budget has grown significantly. Having people focused on the grant coordination and management, in addition to the writing, is very helpful to the agency. And so that is how I landed here. I would really have to say all of it because being a grant professional requires an interesting variety of skills. I mean, sometimes you have to crunch numbers and come up with budgets. Sometimes you have to be analytic about logic models and how the programs are going to function within the budget that you're able to provide. Sometimes you have to do some creative writing or be very good at succinct writing or editing words. So writing skills are very important. Uh, and you have to have some pretty good critical thinking and ability to manage your time, because you have to make decisions about how to facilitate an application if you're working with a lot of people that are contributing to um, the application. So I would say also that the time that I spent as a project manager with a financial services organization was also helpful. So it's really, for me, it's been a combination of skills and abilities that I'm able to draw on for various aspects of my role. I think I think a lot of people they may have a little bit of experience with grant writing, like for an organization they helped or some kind of activity that they've done, and they always say something like, wow, that takes a really special person to be able to deal with all those details. Um, and I think they're also surprised that not only do we write grants at my agency, we also manage them after the fact. So it's not just getting the money, it's also making sure that you work with the programs and the financial folks to assure that we're spending the money correctly and reporting and doing what we said we were going to do. So we also do a lot of compliance, and um, there's a lot of just understanding the ethics of grant writing and management. That's very important as well. So when I got involved in GPA, I was glad to be part of the ethics committee for quite some time, and it helped give me a really solid foundation for grant management, I think. And also sharing those ethical principles with the folks that I work with, and how important it is to manage grants appropriately. Well, what I really love about what I do is that I work for a mission driven organization that helps people. And I'm able to use my skills to support programs that are out working directly with people and helping them. My agency works a lot with the most underserved or vulnerable populations. We have a lot of homeless services, a lot of counseling services, services for refugee populations, um, folks that have experienced domestic violence or trafficking in some form, and generally folks with mental health challenges or substance use disorders, um, and also children with mental health diagnoses. So the fact that I'm able to support programs that do so much good work, and my agency last year reached over 70,000 people with various forms of outreach, education, and service. That really means a lot to me. It means a lot because I was interested for a period of time in being a counselor, but I found that I didn't have the right ability to maintain professional distance with people with emotional challenges. So I didn't think I was right for that. But in this job, I can really help a lot of people. Yes, I went through the grant professional certification process, so I'm a GPC through the Professional Certification Institute. I did that in 2009, and so that requires continuing education and recertification every 3 years. So I enjoy attending the Grant Professionals Association conference. I also just attended like a regional conference for a GPA chapter, part of America. And there are all kinds of trainings that are helpful. I have trainings about logic models and budgeting and grant management and writing. And GPA offers a lot of those, but other organizations do as well. Um, so I try to get a good amount of training every year to keep my skills sharp. And we have a lot of federal grants, so federal grant training is also very important, especially as the regulations change over time, and there's a lot of new ones that went into effect recently. So that's an ongoing process. You could probably study 24/7 and never really feel like you had everything you needed to know about those. Um, well, I will have to say that the Grant Professionals Association has been really invaluable to me. I first became involved with GPA in 2007, I think. And at that time, I was pretty new to the grants field. I was relatively clueless, I think, about the breadth and depth of what the field could be about. And so attending and learning about the association and other associations as well, um, that were related was really helpful to me. And it gave me an understanding of the field that I didn't really have before. And I also got to network with other grant people, and I joined the chapter, and I was able to attend local trainings and meet and network with people and learn about what they were working on. And every grant position is a little bit different depending on what kind of organization you're working for, or if you're independent. Can be pretty different, but we do all have some things in common. We understand what it's like to try to put together a proposal and then to be temporarily really celebratory after you get it and then realize how much work has to be done to manage it. So, I think being involved in a professional organization is really helpful.